Well, hello, friends. Glad you could join us. Welcome to the 8th round of this JAG Thursday Series Championship, and it's being held at none other than the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, which should be a fantastic rendition of the JAG Thursday Championship. Hotspot on the call for you once again. Only a couple of rounds left in the season. We've got that of Monza next time out for the reverse sprint of round number 9, the penultimate round 10 at Qatar, and then the season finale, round 11, at the Saudi Arabian circuit. This track, definitely one of the very old-style circuits. Did not racer's paradise necessarily, but it does provide for some great moments. And time after time, we see series and both in real life and in the virtual world visit this track. It does provide for some fantastic racing. But we'll take you through the driver and constructor standings. First up, the drivers after Singapore last time out. It is RLS Marcus atop the table in his Ferrari, 64 points ahead of Lil Jim in second, 67 ahead of Lord Allen in third, Mikey G fourth, JJ Trim fifth, Elise sixth, Justerini seventh, eighth is Adonis, ninth is Jag Greg. Rounding out the top 10 is that of Iris Stubbs. As far as the constructors are concerned, it is the Ferrari team leading the way. 34 points clear of McLaren in second, 46 clear of Williams in third, Mercedes in fourth, Red Bull fifth, the Alpines in sixth, the Saubers in seventh, eighth is Haas, ninth is Aston Martin, and rounding out the 10 constructors is that of the Racing Bulls, or the V-Carbs as I call them. Should be a very fun track this today. 19 cars on the grid at a very historic circuit, especially in Formula One terms, not only in its namesake being named after Canadian motorsport legend Gilles Villeneuve, not to mention, as I said, Formula One driver himself, a couple of time Grand Prix winner, as well as the father of 1997 world champion Jacques Villeneuve. Gilles Villeneuve was quite a hero to the Canadians up until that of his death in 1982 with the collision and qualifying with Jacques in Mass at Circuit Zolder, which I didn't really know much of the history of until I read it, but either way, it will be that of Savvy. First driver out on track for qualifying. This circuit has undergone a couple of changes in the recent years. More specifically, I think in real life at least, that kind of turn 8 and 9 chicane, which we're going to see the McLaren of Shabs go through now as he lets some of his counterparts out of the way. This corner in real life now is grass on the inside of. There's not really much of a runoff through there at all anymore. It should make for some, at least in real life, it did make for some interesting moments, especially when the rain started falling. This track obviously will usually have the ability for some rain to fall and have the weather play a factor. It doesn't necessarily appear for the time being it's going to have that sort of effect on our race today, but we'll have to wait and see. It will be the Williams of Savvy first out on track, in towards the Senna corners, turns 1 and 2. In through the left-hander and then immediately to the right-hander. That's a fun little transition, especially when you go off the grid and into the racing session, into the first corner in the race. Usually a fun one. Through turns 3 and 4, ask Sebastian Vettel what he thinks about this corner. He'll definitely tell you, I'm sure. Then through turns 6 and 7 coming up now. You've gone through Sector 1 at this point. Got to exit nicely into turn 7. It's tricky to get the power down out of there. And then down the, I don't want to say the backstretch, but going down in towards the turn 8 and 9 chicane now. DRS activated here. Don't really see moves happen here unless cars make mistakes coming out of turn 9. That will then set up this long run down into turn 10. You can ask Robert Kubica about this corner and the massive crash he had in the early 2000s. Through the hairpin at turn 10, the little kink here of turn 11, and then down the backstretch heading turns, this is technically turn 12 here. That's technically a turn according to the game. Down the backstretch heading towards the Wall of Champions chicane, named for whatever Grand Prix weekend it was, where several former world champion drivers hit that wall coming out of the final quarter. It does claim drivers from time to time. Very difficult chicane. And across the line goes Savvy. It's a 1:11.992. Feel like that's a pretty good time. I'm not sure how much it's going to be beaten by. Well, there's your answer, 1:09.916 for that of JJ Trim. That is a massive differential in the timing then. 7.5 tenths clear of Ali, who I think has had our next previous best representative lap of the circuit, although we do have a couple of the Aston Martins coming around now. We've got the Haas of, I want to say, is it Hellion? No, I believe it's Jag Greg starting one here. Dunda is going fourth. Next up behind him was the Sauber of Human Tech starting his. We've got the McLaren up after that of Shabs, who's going to be starting one here, or finishing one. Nope, starting one is the answer. Jag Greg through Sector 1. 19.4, pretty good. It's a difficult Sector 1, this. It's very slow, and there's a lot of tricky corners, part of it, that, really could send your car around. You got to be careful on this track. The track limits penalties come into play. Obviously, it's very narrow, so it wouldn't be surprising if you do lose a front wing here and there. Not accidentally. Down the straight, going into the hairpin now. It's actually gone a little bit deep there, as JAG Greg. You'll usually see drivers try to take that one as close to the apex as they can. I think Greg's gone a little deep, trying to carry more straight line speed going down the backstretch here. Otherwise, the Casino Straight, as they call it. Through the wall of Champion Chicane, down the pit straight, and across the line will be JAG Greg. And I think this is going to be a good lap. It's a 1:10.165. 2.5 tenths off of JJ Trim's current pole time. Lil Jim, I believe, is the one who's just gone that 4th spot. Ali is not on a flyer at the moment. We got the pair of the McLarens coming through next up. It's going to be Shabs, and to the line for him, only 6th. We've got Lord Allen behind him, and Lord Allen, I believe, only starting one now. It certainly appears that way. We'll go along with the McLaren. Through the first couple of corners, maybe a little tentative getting on the throttle there. He's got clear track ahead of him at least. He's got his teammate nearby. Potentially, will a tow be orchestrated here as he makes his way through turns 3 and 4? Into turn 6 and 7 now. You're going to take a lot of the curb on the inside of turn 6. He's taken a lot through 7, which I don't typically see. Usually, that curb on the inside of 7 will send you spinning a little bit. As it turns out, he's held it very well. Through 8 and 9, obviously take as much as you can there. And then next up into the hairpin. Let's see how he takes this. Really close to the inside. It's more or less what I expected to see out of these drivers. But now, this is where I think Lord Allen could benefit here. He's got his teammate ahead of him. Definitely an advantage being had there with the tow. Oh, but hang on just a minute. Are you kidding me? Oh, goodness me. That was mind-boggling, that one. So what he's done, he's followed in his teammate Shabs. And what he's wanted to do, he's been within the slipstream of his teammate. His teammate has just already finished that previous timed attempt. That was his cooldown lap, and I think maybe was he expecting his teammate to move to the inside because he didn't want to go along the whatever car it was to the inside of the McLaren. I think it was a Sauber. And he's gone straight into the back, and he has hit the Sauber. Oh, goodness me, Lord Allen, that's a huge mistake. And I'm sure that one will be discussed in Discord later. Lil Jim through the hairpin. Quite wide on exit, nearly hitting the wall, but keeps it clean. 11 minutes remaining. Down the Casino Straight he goes, clear track ahead of him. Not sure if this is going to be his flyer or not. Let's see if he takes the Wall of Champion Chicane, which he does. Well, he's taking it very well. DRS activated using the last bits of energy he can, and across the line, his provisional pole, 109.789, gets JJ Trim by about a 10.5, who is on an outlap at the moment, but a very good one from Lil Jim. Next up, we've got one of the Red Bulls coming through. I believe it is going to be that of Mikey GTI, who's making his way into the Wall of Champion Chicane now. Hasn't used a lot of his energy store. Will use it now. Exits Wall of Champions, down the pit straight he goes. It's going to be a halfway decent lap for him here. Yep, 4th, 1:10.179. Only behind that of JAG Greg by, what is that? It's not a lot. 6/1000ths of a second. No, more than that. 14 1,000ths, yep. Dumbass. Anyways. Mikey GTI 6, very good lap there. Next up around the line, I believe, it's not going to be Lil Jim. I think it's actually Savvy, and he's gone 7th. About a 1.5 seconds off the pace there. Good lap from him. Behind him, the Mercedes of Donis looks to be beginning one now. Let's go along with Adonis here as he makes his way through the first couple of corners. Does have a bit of traffic ahead of him. The Williams of Savvy, which we've just seen complete a lap. He's got one of the Saubers. It's that of Human Tech on an outlap. Human Tech getting out of the way now. Off to the inside of turn 6. Doesn't touch any of the curb going through 7. He'll have DRS activated here. Still the Williams of Savvy ahead of him. He'll actually pick up slightly a bit of a tow there on the way into turns 8 and 9, which it looks as if he's handled well. Still 4 drivers yet to put a time on the board. Series, Justarini, Adonis, and Lord Allen. Alum back out on track now, after what was a massive conundrum between himself and his teammate of Shabs. By the way, Shabs currently 1/1000th of it. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I see what the problem is. These two drivers have tied on time, that of Human Tech and Shabs. The problem is that Human Tech has set his time first, and therefore has the position. The game is reading it that Human Tech's lap was 1/1000th slower, so I don't get how that works. Adonis has gone provisional pole, 109.602. Has Little Jim now by about 1/10.5. That's a really good lap from him. We got the Ferrari coming around the line now. It's going to be that of Marcus. While we see that, Justerini seems to have spun coming out of the hairpin off to the inside by the inside of the corner. Marcus has invalidated that previous attempt, and I think he's done that one as well, so that one's not going to matter much for him. Lord Alum, however, I believe might be on a timer now. His teammate of Shabs is going to be beginning one here. There he goes. Lord Alum down the casino straight now. 8 minutes remaining. Looks like he's on pace for a halfway decent lap here. We'll see how well he takes the Wall of Champions chicane. Yep, pretty good. I don't think the best we've seen. Not anywhere close to the worst, though. Very good. Up to third. 109.811. Within 0.2 of a second of that of Adonis. We've got a very close top three for the time being. Less than 3.5 tenths separating them all, 1 through 4. Next up, then, the Mercedes of Dunda beginning a timed lap, but after him, Adonis into the pit lane. We've got the Haas of Jag Greg, who I believe is going to be starting another one here. Parker appears to have left the session. I don't know what's going on with him. He doesn't appear to have joined a car. Yeah, I don't really know. Got the Sauber coming around the line now, that being of Human Tech. What does he have to offer? Across the line for him, up to 10th, 111.334, improves by 0.2 of a second. Now, 1.7 behind the leader of Adonis. We have a yellow flag. I think it's that of Claymel getting out of the way for the Aston Martin of Justerini, who appears to be trying to put together a better one here. He's currently 15 seconds off the pace. He's hit the wall coming out of the Wall of Champions chicane. And across the line for Justerini. Will go actually 7th, 110.519. Improves by 14.5 seconds. But, yeah, anyways, up to 7th. On a lap that I thought actually, you know, you can't really tell how good a lap is by looking at the time, especially towards the later stages like that. But it did look as if it was going to be slightly slower to me. But no, it's actually done very well. Positions 7 through 9. Well, matter of fact, 7 through 10, really, within 1/10 of a second of each other. It's very close amongst the midfield here. The McLaren of Lord Alum has just gone third. 1/100th ahead of Jag Greg for the third spot. Coming across the line now is that of Hellion beginning a lap. We've got the Williams behind him of Savvy, who is starting one. Let's go along with Savvy. Has a little bit of traffic ahead of him with the Haas of Hellion, who has spun the car around. Hopefully that hasn't impeded Savvy any. 5 minutes 40 remaining in the session through turns 3 and 4. He's gone a little bit deep through 3. That's compromised his line through 4. That may hurt him. And there he is, 1/10.5 slower through Sector 1. Starting a time lap now is that of Shabs. We've also got the Aston Martin coming around the line now. I believe, is that going to be Spider? No, it's going to be Justerini, who I believe might be starting another one here. The Mercedes of Dunda, I believe, is either just gone P18 or is starting a new one. In the meantime, Savvy has invalidated this time. To the line was that of Iris Dubs. He's gone 6th, actually now making up row 3 alongside his Alpine counterpart of JJ Trim, improved by, what is that, 0.6 of a second. Top 6 cars now, within 3.5 tenths. It's very close goings here for the time being. The Haas of Jag Greg, slow here on the casino straight, probably going to be making his way into the pit lane. Appears to be on low fuel. Yes, he is. V-Carb going through the final chicane now. That looks to be Rob Sue, the lone V-Carb on track. Across the line for him, he'll go 11th. He'll improve by 0.6 of a second, 111.102, I think that said. A clean 2.5 behind. Problem is for Rob Sue right now, and a lot of these drivers outside the top 10, is that now you have to make up half a second to even gain one spot. You know, because the top 10 are within a second of each other. That's fine and dandy, but that gap between 10th and 11th currently is 1.5. That's not looking good for Rob Sue or any of these other guys outside that 10th spot. They'll have to make up quite a bit to get somewhat of a opportunity to get there. We do have next up, I believe that's the Alpine of Virus Stubbs who's into the pit lane. We've got the Ferrari coming up next. It's going to be one of them. They're both. Oh, DWCJ appears to have joined the grid. He will make up the other V-carb. Marcus going through Sector 1 was purple. Let's see how he goes through Sector 2 here. He's going through turns 8 and 9. Good to see DWCJ. Making ourselves have a full grid here. Across the line, 2.5 seconds quicker. Goodness me, RLS Marcus is looking for it here. Exits turn 10 through turn 11. He'll have, well, I guess technically turn 12 this and then down the casino straight. Heading for the Wall of Champions chicane with clear track ahead of him. 3 minutes 20 remaining. Let's see, how well does he handle it? Oh, that's one of the... I tell you what, he's really left it out there, but he's done his best. And across the line for Marcus, and it's provisional pole, 109.216. That is incredible, and that's got Adonis by 4/10. Adonis on an outlap now, only one of 5 drivers currently out on track. Although now we are starting to see some flood into turn 1. But Adonis, let's go along with him. 2 minutes 45 remaining now, really getting to the business end of this qualifying session, and Adonis looking to get himself a little bit back within play for pole here. Adonis through the first corner. Looks pretty good. Again, no immediate traffic ahead of him. He does have the Aston Martin, which will cede position. Oh, this one's going to be close, though. Is he going to have to compromise his line to get around him? No, he won't. He won't really. Adonis through Sector 1, only quicker by 4/100ths of a second. That's not going to be an adequate improvement from him. And with not a lot of time left here, through turns 8 and 9 coming up, he best not invalidate now. It doesn't appear that he has. He does have the Haas ahead of him, that of Hellion, I believe. Yep, it's going to have to be. Jag Greg's not currently on track. Through the hairpin, takes it nicely, exits well. Marcus has retired from the session. He thinks he's done all he can do. Minute 45 remaining now, getting closer to the last 90 seconds of the session. Adonis next up. Into the Wall of Champions chicane. He's got to hit this one perfectly, and I think it's a little bit slow. I think he's still going to improve, but it's not really going to be enough to take pole across the line. He does improve by about 1/10.5. Within now 1/4 of a second of RLS Marcus, but Lil Jim, Lord Alum, and Greg on outlaps as well. We've got the Haas of Hellion, who's just started one. The Sauber of Human Tech making his way. He has invalidated, but maybe will he stay out and give it another go? Minute 10 remaining. And yep, through the Wall of Champions chicane is that of Human Tech. He will be starting his final timed attempt here. And there he goes. We've got DWCJ as well exiting the final quarter. This could be a good lap from CJ here. And across the line, up to 9th. Not bad. 1:10.254. For having joined the session late, that's a pretty respectable lap. Although that will most likely do it for him and his session. We've got the Red Bull up next of C. Rees. Not going to be coming across the line. It was actually that of his teammate of Mikey GTI who's starting one. But C. Rees, let's go along with him anyways. Exiting the final corner. Does hit the wall. But does he improve? The answer is yeah, up to 13th. 1:10.598. Improves by 1.5 seconds. Got the Alpine behind him of Ira Stubbs starting one. We've got the Haas of Jag Greg also starting one now. Lord Alum, I would assume not that far behind. He's exiting the hairpin now. I tell you what, it's going to be close for Lord Alum. I'm not actually sure he's going to be able to get back to the line in time here. Let's see. He's got to not worry about the traffic ahead of him. He's really just got to get back. He's got 5 seconds. This is going to be close for Alum. And does he get it? Yes, he does. Only just. So, final rounds of timed attempt starting now. We've got the V-carb of DWCJ going down the casino straight now. He's not on a flyer. We've got the Williams up next of Lil Jim, making his way behind. He's about 1/10.5 quicker through Sector 2. Coming up to the Wall of Champions chicane now. He needs a lot if he wants to get onto the front row. But as he makes his way out of the Wall of Champions chicane and across the line, does he improve? He does. Not enough to get Adonis. Next up behind him is the Red Bull. I think it's going to be that of Mikey GTI. Across the line for him. And it's going to be 8th for Mikey GTI. Next up, the Alpine of JJ Trim. To the line for him, 3rd, followed by the Aston Martin of Justerini. He's gone 9th. We've got the Alpine next up of Ira Stubbs. He's invalidated. His session is done. Jag Greg has also invalidated. His session is done. We've got a Lee coming through. We've also got Human Tech, who's going to be into the pit lane. Next up, though, is the Aston Martin of Spider. coming across the line. It's not going to be enough of an improvement for him. He will stay 18th. We've got a Lee up next. The lead of the line goes 7th. The V-Carb of Rob Sue goes 14th. The McLaren of Lord Allen will stay 5th. And unless Hellion has something ridiculous going here, which he will not, he'll be into the pit lane. So it's Marcus on pole by a quarter of a second over Adonis. JJ Trim 3rd. Lil Jim 4th. Alan 5th, Greg 6th, Elise 7th, Iris Stubbs 8th, Mikey GTI 9th, 10th Justerini 11th, DWCJ 12th is Shabs, 13th is Rees, 14th Robsu, 15th Savvy, 16th Human Tech, 17th is Hellion, 18th Spider, 19th is Dunda, and rounding out the grid, starting in P20, is that of Claymore. It is very close amongst the top 10, top 11 cars actually, separated by just over a second. We're going to be looking at a one fine Grand Prix here, and at a track where anything can happen, a very tight and treacherous circuit this, we're going to be in for a fun one. So the formation lap, oh God almighty, I'm already, we're not even on the formation lap and I can't speak English. The formation lap, I guess it is a formation nap, nothing really happens on this, does it? Formation lap underway now. Let's have a look at the tire strategies that is presented to us. Oh, so Hellion is the only one hard for today. Everybody else has chosen the medium tires. That is slightly alarming. I'm not really sure why we're seeing that many cars not really choose to be too creative with their tire strategy. I don't really know what to tell you, but RLS Marcus on pole once again. Top 11 cars separated by a second and 3/100ths or something silly like that. I mean, it's a very close grid. Let's see if there's any sort of look at rain in the thing. It doesn't appear that way, but either way. So, RLS Marcus will lead the grid into the first corner, the Senna corner. As it's called, Adonis is going to be to his immediate surrounding, hopefully giving him a good fight into the corner. JJ Trim behind them in 3rd. Lil Jim 4th, Lord Allen 5th and 6th. Bit of a, not going to say disappointing showing from both Lord Allen and Greg, but 3rd row start, I think, is a little bit further back than they'd like to be. So, as they try to find their grid box here, looks as if Marcus will have the inside line going into the first corner. Slightly different this circuit, where you have the inside into the first corner. Typically, you'll have the outside. That's how they line you up on the grid. But I think being in the correct line going through turn 2 is more important. But if Marcus can get away well and find some acceleration around the outside, it'll be easy enough for him to keep the lead. The entire grid in the Ferrari sandwich at the moment as CDR Claymore rounds out the grid here, finding his grid box. Just looking for a good camera angle. It appears Spider hasn't been able to get back to the grid correctly. And so here we go. Lights about to turn on here for yet another edition of the CCRL. I believe this is going to be round number 8. Hopefully the lights turn on. Lap 15 to 21. There's your tire strategy. Marcus versus Adonis. Off the line they go. And they are off, and it looks as if, initially it seems that Marcus has gotten away pretty well, but not well enough to really clear Adonis. Adonis will, though, fall back behind. The McLaren of Lord Allen has actually gotten into the grass there here, nearly collided with JJ Trim and Greg, who battle it out, exiting the second corner. Greg nearly got a little bit loose there. He saved the car, but Marcus gets away well. So does Adonis. Lil Jim up a spot. Greg up 2 spots. It looks as if the big loser so far has been JJ Trim, down 2 positions. We already have yellow flags at the back. It's Human Tech who appears to have gone round, and I think he's missing a bit of the front wing as well. C. Rees and that of Spider side by side. They're piled up 2 by 2 going down, heading for turns 8 and 9. Spider, will he try the outside going through turn number 8? Oh, I think he wanted it there, but there's really just not that much room to make it happen. Heading down into the hairpin they go. For the first time of 35 laps of the circuit, Gilles Villeneuve. Shabs to the inside of Justerini. Great move. He'll pick up the 8th spot. Justerini now under pressure from Ali. Ali doesn't appear to have gotten the getaway out of the corner. It's going to be C. Rees now falling off the back. Something's happened with him. Falling down several positions. I think maybe as he found a little bit of oversteer. Could be the case. Going through the Wall of Champions chicane for the first time, and Marcus still leads. A little bit further back, it does appear that Justerini and Shab still battering. Look at this. Justerini to the inside going into the first corner. Great battles going on here, and Justerini has gotten the McLaren through the first corner. Nicely done. Up to 8th, maybe is their contact there. Lord Allen nearly had another look to the inside. Lord Allen has not gotten a good start either. He's down 2 positions. So Adonis trying to hunt down the back end of Marcus as they make their way out of turn 7. Down the stretch, heading towards turn 8, Adonis is looking for it. Remember, DRS should be activated. It, however, is not, for whatever reason. Maybe he's just chosen not to do it. Anyway, I'm sure we'll be seeing some DRS overtaking heading down the casino straight next time, but for the time being, will Mikey DWCJ send it on a Lee here, who will send it to Shabs, really tries to get Justerini, can't quite maneuver the car underneath the Aston Martin, but tries his best. Down the casino straight they go. Adonis is not really close enough to make something happen for the time being. Lil Jim follows in behind, still 4.5 of a second away. Shabs and Justerini do make something happen going into Wall of Champions, and it will be the McLaren. Oh, Justerini has smacked the wall coming out of the corner, as to the inside goes a Lee, and has made the position, so Justerini hits the wall and loses the spot, and now could lose another one to DWCJ, who is off to the inside, and Justerini spins on his own, exiting the first corner, heading into the second, and now has to deal with the Haas of Hellion, and Justerini now down 5 positions. Savvy appears to have gotten around Clay, but for the time being, the battle still Adonis 0.3 of a second back behind Marcus. Adonis using his DRS and closing it again. Apparently, what I learned was that this, if I'm remembering this correctly, the last time out we had the race in Austria. And it was that, yes, no, it wasn't. That must have been a different league. Anyways, DWCJ, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Adonis nearly had the inside of RLS Marcus. What I did learn was this. I did see somebody do that sort of thing recently. It may have been Adonis. Maybe does he participate in the other league that I do? I don't quite remember off the top of my head. You have about 60 drivers. I have to memorize what league they're in. But either way, that is a fuel-saving maneuver to not be using DRS when it is activated. Shabs has now picked up 3 seconds for multiple warnings, as well as DWCJ, who we just saw pick up his. As far as positions gained and lost concerned, Spider up 5, Claymore up 3, Shabs up 3. As far as in the negative direction, that of Justerini down 4, and Human Tech down 4 as well. But yeah, not using DRS is a fuel-saving technique. So when we'll see Adonis this time, and he'll make his way down the straight here, he will have DRS activated to him. He may choose not to use it. There it goes. It closed again. So he's keeping himself within the window of DRS while saving fuel. Because again, you have to think, having the slipstream to the car ahead of you does save fuel, as they are the ones punching the hole in the air ahead of you. Meaning less air resistance, meaning you use less fuel. So down the casino straight they go. Lil Jim, I think, is kind of aware, potentially, of Adonis' game here, because he sees Adonis within 1/10 of a second of Marcus, but he's just not really willing to overtake the Ferrari for the time being, although he's going for it now, down into turn number 1, and Adonis is going to clear him by the time they even get there. Nicely done for the Mercedes, who will take the top spot. Behind them, it looks as if Jag Greg may be having a look at Lil Jim here shortly, whilst also behind him, the pair of the Alpines trying to get their way into the top 6 battle. Bit of a slide there for Jag Greg. Not really in position to make a move on Lil Jim. I think JJ Trim could have something here. Maybe once DRS is activated. We've also got a Lee within 1/10 of Shabs going through turn 6. Big slide for Shabs. He does save it. Nearly gets into a Lee in the process, but he's held on. And so through turn 8 and 9 they go. Adonis still leads. Marcus behind him 1/2 second. Lil Jim in 3rd. Human Tech's picked up a 3-second penalty. That'll now make 5 of them. Exiting the hairpin they go. Lil Jim 3.5 of a second. We've got Mikey, GTI, and DWCJ side by side going through the hairpin. The Red Bull has gotten out ahead of the V-Carb. We have a yellow flag at the back. It looks as if something has happened with Claymore. He's lost a bit of the front wing on the left side. I think maybe did he have something happen with Dunda. Ali is going to get round Shabs, retaking the 8th spot. Into the first quarter they go. Adonis still leads by about 2.5 of a second. Jag Greg looking in behind. We've got Mikey, GCI, and Shabs again. And now Shabs being overtaken by DWCJ down the inside. So DW up to 10th. Shabs now once again looking to the inside here. They may be side by side in through 4. That would be a rough place to go side by side. And it looks like they're going to solve... Well, I was going to say how they kind of sorted it out on their own. But DWCJ has a massive error on the way into the corner and goes down to 12th. Series now a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. That's his second of the day, up to 6. 0.2 of a second. Rob Sue, does he have the back of Shabs here trying his way into turns 8 and 9? No, not quite. But still, the procession is that of the top 6. Adonis leads. 0.5 second over Marcus, 0.5 second over Jim, 6/10, 7/10 over Greg, 4/10 over JJ Trim, 0.5 second over his teammate of Iris. But now Marcus round the left side and he'll get the lead. Nicely done from Marcus getting the spot back. And you got to make sure that when you do make that move happen, you make it before you get to the wall of champion chicane, because trying to go side by side through there is never ideal. A little bit of a slide for Marcus that time through the corner. Looks like he's held on okay. Spider, 3-second penalty. And I think he may have had a bit of a spin here. Yes, he has. Oh, and he's hit the wall. He's lost the front wing as well. And that is a virtual safety car. So Spider spun the car, and I think trying to get it back right, has crashed into the wall of champion chicane, has lost the front wing, and the virtual safety car out on track. Well, virtual safety car, not necessarily out on track, but never mind, not important. Spider's now picked up a 10er for corner cutting. And you'd have to think Spider's going to be calling it quits here when he gets back into the pit lane. Well, he's hit the wall pretty good there. Green flag back in the air. Meanwhile, Hellion currently pitting, replacing a front wing for him. Marcus leads the charge coming out of turn 10 and 11. Adonis is actually very close to him here. Only 0.3 of a second. So maybe does Adonis no longer need to conserve, and he's really just going to outright race the Ferrari now. He'll go down to the inside, and that's what he's done. Nice for him. Oh, contact behind, and Lil Jim, well, I tell you what's happened there. He has made contact with Marcus. That car's nearly gone around, and then having to save it, has actually had to go over the wall of champion chicane, and has picked up a time penalty for his troubles. And a safety car now out on track as Spider has genuinely retired, although I do think has he done that on his own. Well, that has absolutely brought out the safety car, and yet he's definitely crashed it on his own doing. Not cool. Don't like that. What I was about to say was this. So, Lil Jim got into Marcus, had to back out of it, probably had to go over the corner to actually be able to be in space, and I think that's what's happened maybe to Lil Jim and Greg as well. Or sorry, to JJ Trim and Greg, because they are both now on 3-second penalties. That means now we get the safety car out on track. I'm assuming we're going to see some cars pit for the hards. Maybe not everybody. Although Series now has left the session. So, as far as position gains and lost, Adonis has taken the lead. Iris Dubs up 3 spots. Rob Sue up 3 spots. Spider was having a pretty good day up until he decided to quit. Justerini down 3. And it appears Adonis is staying out. Marcus and the rest are coming in. Marcus comes in, Lil Jim comes in, JJ Trim comes in, Iris comes in, Greg comes in, Lord Alum comes in. And I think we're going to see pretty much everybody here, except for Adonis. This is a bold decision by the leading Mercedes to not choose to come into the pit lane. Everybody else in and onto the hard tires. So Adonis now your leader. It appears GWCJ has actually gone to the softs. Adonis your leader as he picks up the safety car. We'll let it sort itself out here. But a lot of penalties coming into play now, and I'm sure we're going to see another probably safety car or 2 coming up at some point. Very tricky track this, and with 19 other guys out there, it's definitely going to be a fun one. Safety car out on track. We'll be back. So the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. Let's go look at who's on what tires. So Adonis, remember, stayed out. Bold decision from him. DWCJ, also bold decision, now onto the soft tires. But the majority of the grid otherwise has gone hard, and the majority of the grid otherwise as well does have time penalties to their name. Well, I say majority. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. Which, you know, almost, but still. That is... Oh, God almighty, don't do this to me. Oh, no. Jag Greg has left the session. I don't know if that's by design or not. Let's see if I can invite him. Sorry, I know we're going to get back racing here, but I've sent him a couple of invites here. Hopefully he gets one of them. DWCJ, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, as it turns out. As we make our way back, green flag racing here. We do have side-by-side action going, Lord Alum and Irish Stubbs. And my controller's getting low. That's fantastic. Just when you think anything else could go wrong. Mikey GTI is getting around Jag Greg now, the Ghost, as it appears Mikey GTI has left the session as well. The battle for the lead, though, less than a tenth and a half between that of Adonis and Lil Jim as they make their way going through sector number 2 now. Ali now up to 3 seconds and multiple warnings. A series has retired, left the session. I don't know. It says he's now off track. Where has that happened? That's coming out of turn number 8 as Human Tech, turn 7 as Human Tech spins the car as well. Just kind of on his own, but as they make their way out of the chicane, the hairpin, and down the casino straight now, Lil Jim 0.3 of a second behind, trying to use the slipstream as much as he can. RLS Marcus following in pursuit, knowing that he's got a fair chance here, with JJ Trim now nearly a second and a half behind. Through the wall of champion chicanes they go, Human Tech still not up the pace. Has Jag Greg been able to rejoin the session? I sure hope he has. Let's try to send him at least another invite here. Oh no, where's he gone? Jag Greg does not appear to be online anymore. Oh, that's unfortunate. Anyways, back to green flag racing we go, making their way through sector 2. It appears Marcus is actually... Oh, there he is, he's rejoined. Marcus has gotten himself back kind of within this fight now. JJ Trim has clawed back about 0.6 of a second as well. Remember, he was about a second and a half behind. Now down to about 7.5 tenths. As Lil Jim now, round the right side, trying to find a move on Adonis into the hairpin, and has he got it, or has he gone too deep into the corner? Adonis is going to look back to the inside, and a little bit of a switchback, but no, Lil Jim will still keep the top spot. Nicely done. Adonis, having not stopped yet, is going to be on what is his 13-lap-old medium tires, albeit only 3 of them on safety car, but still not going to help him. Marcus has now gotten around Adonis as well, and Adonis, I think, may want to start thinking about pitting. Unless does he believe that another safety car is going to be on its way. Rob Sue has picked up a 3-second penalty. He's our latest to have done so. So Ali now fastest lap of the session. Making their way through Sector 1 they go. Lil Jim, the leader of the Grand Prix. Marcus second, Adonis third. Having not pit. Oh, look at this. Alum and JJ Trim side by side. That was a lot of contact. Somehow they've ended out okay. But that one was very close indeed to being a bit dangerous between them. Not exactly the best part of the track to go side by side through, but they've made it happen, albeit with a couple of paint trading moments there. Although Justarini's gone way over the inside curb, I think, as he locked up on the back end on his way in, and, well, he saved the car, but that one was also very close for Justarini to not ending well. So down the casino straight now, Lil Jim, oh, look at Marcus to the inside, and he's going to have that one very nicely done for Marcus. Adonis now a second and a half behind, and he will still choose not to pit here. He's under pressure, very much so, from that of Lord Alamus. Human Tech is retired, that thankfully in the pit lane. To the inside is Lord Alum trying it into the first corner. He'll have to have the outside through turn number 2, and it appears Adonis is at least going to hold the spot for now. Whether or not it stays that way is going to be the big question. Mikey GTI has spun it coming out of turn 2 and will fall down to 10th, maybe 11th or more, yes. And it appears, yep, DWCJ is going to get the spot as well. DRS activated once more for Lil Jim now. 0.5 of a second, trying to close in on Marcus Dunda. 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, up to 6 for him. At the line this time will be 20 laps to go. Despite them being very quick laps here. A lot of action as Adonis and Lord Alum side by side once more. JJ Trim watches on and hopes that contact is made between them. And Lord Alum is genuinely going to get around the Mercedes that time up to third as Lil Jim to the inside of Marcus and will take the top spot. Adonis now getting overtaken by JJ Trim, and JJ Trim looking for it on Lord Alum as well. I thought he was going to try to send it around the outside, but Alum defended well. Adonis finally into the pit lane as Ira Stubbs picks up a 3-second for multiple warnings. Onto the hard tires for the Mercedes. 0.7 of a second here. Marcus still trying his best to keep Lil Jim within his sights, although it has to be said, Lil Jim starting to put a good amount of pace back to Marcus. Currently, Rob Sue up 7 positions, and only being on 3 seconds of penalty. That's a good look. So the two Alpines battling it out here. I say battling, potentially working together, hopefully. Adonis now up to 3 seconds of multiple warnings. I think maybe is he taking too much of the chicane, going through 3 and 4. Into the hairpin they go, nothing in it between them. It looks as if the two Alpines are still working together here, although I would allow, if I was JJ Trim, I would allow Ira Stubbs on past here. It seems as if that Ira Stubbs the quicker of the two, and I think that's what's going to happen this time. They're going to be side by side, as we do have a battle for the lead. A lead change. Marcus does get around Lil Jim, but still not any decision being made between the two Alpines. It does stay JJ Trim ahead. I think we're having another yellow flag. Rob Sue's gone around. Yes, he has. He's lost a lot of the front wing. I think he was in the process of having a battle with either Justerini or Shabs, and something went terribly wrong for him, as his front wing is now gone. DWCJ into the pit lane. It'll be to the medium tires for him. He'll be trying to go mediums to the end now. His strategy, medium, soft, medium. We haven't seen that yet. Lord Alum up to 3 seconds. That's his first penalty. Ali, his third penalty, up to 9 seconds. As we do have now Rob Sue and Mikey GTI side by side, as Mikey's going to get around the ailing V-carb. The battle for the lead still 0.2 of a second. Lil Jim knows he has to pressure Marcus into a mistake here, because Marcus, for the time being, still doesn't have a penalty. And it will be DRS activated for Lil Jim here around the outside, and I think he's going to get Marcus with some ease. Yes, he does. Although, not a good go through the Wall of Champions chicane. That could open the door for Marcus. He's actually falling back slightly. Shabs has gotten around Justerini into Wall of Champions. Nicely done for the McLaren. We've got Dunda to the inside of Savvy. Sorry, to the left side of Savvy. Oh, look at this. Greg is going to go to the inside. And it looks as if, is he going to be able to outbrake Dunda into the corner? No, not quite. Rob Sue into the pit lane, losing spots now. It'll be the medium tires for him. 0.3 of a second. Ira Stubbs to his teammates still. I'm a little surprised that they haven't inverted positions yet. Ira Stubbs certainly appears, at least on paper, to be the quicker of the two cars. But for the time being, it is still Lil Jim atop the grid over RLS Marcus in second by 0.5 a second. .2 of a second. And oh, Marcus trying the outside now, and he's going to get that one easily. Even before they get to the Wall of Champions. Nicely done. Still the two Alpines. Although what's interesting now is that we do see, as Justerini getting around Shabs, we do see JJ Trim trying to get into this battle with Lord Alum, and that is actually allowing Ira Stubbs into this as well. So maybe is Ira Stubbs confident in JJ Trim to be able to overtake the McLaren? That would have to be my guess. Again, I'm a little surprised they haven't swapped them around yet. I would have. So Marcus leads Lil Jim by 0.5 a second. We are past the halfway point in this Grand Prix. We'll be coming up to 10 laps to go here shortly. Lil Jim actually round the outside on the way into the hairpin. Nicely done. Don't often see overtakes being made into the hairpin like that, but it's very nice from Lil Jim. You ask me, that other chicane just really shouldn't exist. Be able to have one quick shot all the way down into the hairpin, that'd be great. Ira Stubbs to the inside of his teammate at JJ Trim, still not allowing his teammate past. And similar to real life, the Alpine teammates here having difficulties deciding which of them belong at the front. The more these two fight, the more it allows Lord Alum to hold on to the third spot. And by the way, these are total battle for positions between those guys. It's pretty much all but 3 drivers currently have 3-second penalties. As Lil Jim now up to 6 seconds. That is really going to hamper his efforts. Five-tenths of a second here. Marcus knows that he's just got to keep it clean, because he can get past Lil Jim, not only on track, but on those penalties as well. Although no driver really wants to win a race on penalties. They'd rather do it out on track, but still either way. I think if Marcus just plays a clean race here, he's pretty much got this one, unless maybe there's another safety car come out. Or, you know, if he picks up a penalty. Marcus, though, has gotten around Lil Jim again for the top spot. Oh, and there you go. 3-second penalty for Marcus. Okay, so only 2 drivers left to pick up a penalty. Justerini and Mikey GTI. Now, remember, if you were along with us for the 100% distance Grand Prix at Mexico a couple of weeks ago, Mikey GTI was one of the only, matter of fact, was the only driver to not pick up a 3-second penalty during that race. Wing change being made for Ali. I didn't quite see what happened to him to have picked up this wing damage that he has, but either way. As Dunda, another 3 seconds, up to 9 for him. Oh, big slide for Hellion. And he's gone around exiting turn number 1. Sorry, that's turn 2 at this point. Either way. Big slide for him, loses a spot. I think he's going to lose another one here once Ali catches up to him. He'll choose to try to defend the outside. Ali is going to have to work to get past the Haas here. The Haas's tires are still going to be blisteringly warm after having made that spin. As it appears the 2 Alpines have actually swapped themselves now. So JJ Trim ahead of Iris. At least they were temporarily. Marcus getting overtaken by Lil Jim. Meanwhile, Lord Alum falling off the back of the top 2. Half a second and a half between them. I think the Alpines got to really start working together here if they want to get themselves onto the podium. So Lord Alum first in line to be overtaken by that of JJ Trim. Don't think it's going to happen until they get to the Casino Straight. Unless does Lord Alum make a mistake. That really gets him in that position. DWCJ getting around to Lee into Wall of Champions. Nicely done. So a quarter of a second still as Marcus hoping that he doesn't go up to an additional 3 seconds in penalty, because at this point, well, it's pretty much even Stevens between everybody. Unless, as long as you're on 3 seconds of penalty, you have gotten yourself back into the advantage. So now Marcus trying it round the outside once more of Lil Jim. These two have been swapping positions back and forth quite frequently, as it turns out. But now here's JJ Trim. Is he going to try to send it round the outside into Wall of Champions? He's right up against the back of Lord Alum, and hopefully, well, I was going to say thankfully there's no contact being made. Oh, but look at this. Iris Dub sending it on his teammate here. He will have enough pace to get up to Lord Alum, but I don't think he was close enough really, as now the 2 Alpines still side by side. Iris Stubbs has, for the time being, been able to stay ahead of his teammate. I think he simply got a little bit tired of being behind him. As DWCJ now 3 seconds for multiple warnings, that'll put him up to 9. Still only 2 drivers yet to have picked up a 3-second time penalty. That's both Justerini and that of Mikey GTI. As we are coming up closer on 10 laps to go. And oh, by the way, Lord Alum, 3 seconds behind that of Lil Jim. So for the time being, Lil Jim won't lose that position. Adonis getting around Mikey GTI going into turns 8 and 9. Good move it looked there. As we have a yellow flag, it's going to be the Haas of Hellion, and I think he has lost a lot of his front wing. Yes, he has. Doesn't appear that we're going to have a safety car or virtual safety car. The track will stay green. But very unhelpful for the Haas of Hellion, as he has lost both end plates. Ira Stubbs now has gotten around Lord Alum to the inside going through turn 1. And that has promoted the Alpine up to 3rd. Potentially even 2nd if he can start to claw some of this 3-second gap away and he can get back within that 3 seconds of Lil Jim. And he will get himself up to the 2nd place. Ali will actually set the fastest lap. Shabs now, an additional 3-second penalty up to 6. Hellion as well. So Marcus leads Lil Jim. Still just over 3 seconds between Jim and Ira Stubbs. And I'm just thinking if the two Alpines didn't spend that time battling against each other, they could have gotten their way back in this, as Marcus, I think, is just going to allow Jim to the inside. With no degree of difficulty there. As Lord Alum is actually going to re-overtake Ira Stubbs. Or do we have another yellow flag? Yes, we do. Clay has gone round, and as if he's lost part of his wing, which he has, and now he's parked himself kind of on the straight here with the leaders coming through. This is not exactly the best time to be perpendicular across the circuit. He has lost part of the front wing, but it doesn't appear the game finds it necessary to bring out a virtual to clear the front wing. Perhaps it's not entirely on the racing surface. They've kept the track green. And now does it appear Ira Stubbs going to send it into the hairpin? No, not quite. Not this time. I think he'd rather kind of do it with the comfort of DRS rather than having to work forward into the hairpin and potentially make a mistake. As Marcus is going to get back around Lil Jim. Ira Stubbs now to the inside of Lord Alamo. He may not be clearly ahead of him. Look at JJ Trim. Really wanted it on the outside. On the right-hand side, Lord Alum does fall both positions to the Alpine, but goodness me, I thought JJ was going to send it there. As Lord Alum's actually gotten back around the Alpine in question. As we have another yellow flag, it's the Haas of Jag Greg who's gone round. Yes, he has. He doesn't appear... Well, he has lost a bit of the front wing, hasn't he? Yep. Unfortunate there for Jag Greg, but the track stays green. We do have about 9.5 laps remaining now in what has been a entertaining Canadian Grand Prix so far. Jag Greg, tenor for speeding to the pit lane. That'll most certainly mean his day is done. Yep. We started with the full 20. We're down to 16 as Adonis getting down the inside of Shabs into turn 8. It appears for the time being that Lil Jim has kind of negated this 3-second extra penalty that he has that would keep him in the 2nd position. Remember, Ira Stubbs, Alum, and Trim have been battling for the better part of 7 to 10 laps now. And for a moment, it did look as if that 3-second penalty, the extra one that has got Lil Jim up to 6, it looked like that was going to come into play a lot more than it is. Unless does a safety car happen. And that really puts him in a world of trouble. There's still a lot of laps left to go. Anything could happen. Especially at a track as challenging as this. It appears Dunda's gotten around Rob Sue, or sorry, other way around. It's going to be that of Savvy into the pit lane. We do have the Ferrari of Clay off again. And hopefully he's not lost too much, if any, of the front wing. So 0.3 of a second. Still trying his best within the slipstream of Marcus. I think Lil Jim not necessarily in a position where he has to worry about overtaking Marcus unless, does Marcus pick up a penalty, get him up to 6 seconds, then it's really game on between the two. And I'm thinking, is that kind of what Lil Jim is looking for here? Is he looking, you know, to pressure Marcus into a mistake? Because that's kind of what happened the first time, where Marcus picked up the 3. It was on the way into the wall of championship chicane. You know, we were kind of wondering, with those two as battling as hard as they are, you know, was that kind of Jim's game plan to force Marcus into a mistake, get him to pick up the penalty, and then battle him from then on out? Irish Stubbs up 5 positions on his 3-second penalty. However, Dunda into the pit lane, medium tires for him. I think driver of the day for the time being goes to Justerini, up 4. No penalty either. Lil Jim now not going to be close enough to Marcus. Alum, though, will get down the inside of Irish Stubbs. JJ Trim's going to try to send it on his teammate. They're all going to be kicking it off here, going through the chicane. And oh, goodness me, the Alpines come together. So Alum had gotten down the inside of Iris. JJ Trim tried to send it on his teammate. Contact was made. Iris was forced over the chicane and is now down to 5th. Coming up closer to 5 laps to go in this Canadian Grand Prix, it does seemingly appear that Marcus is going to be walking away the winner, unless does he pick up another 3-second penalty. You have to think about that. Still a lot of trips through the chicane, specifically that wall of champions. No guarantee you're not going to get through that corner. Or sorry, well, no guarantee that you're going to get through it and not pick up a penalty. I think that's what Lil Jim's hoping for. Still yet again, and now JJ Trim overtaking Lord Alum, and I'm wondering if Irish Stubbs has some sort of damage. He's relatively fallen off the back of this battle. We do have the battle going on between Savvy and Dunda between these two 7/10 of a second. Next time by will be 5 laps to go. Oh, is JJ Trim, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. So now, you'd have to believe it's a outright battle for position between second place of Lil Jim, third of JJ Trim, and fourth of Alum. Of course, Irish Stubbs will probably still be making up some spots with these penalties after they're applied. But still, as they exit turn 11 and 12, it still appears as if RLS Marcus in a good position now. Still hasn't picked up an additional 3-second penalty like Lil Jim is hoping for. 5 laps to go. Adonis getting down the inside of Justerini for the 6th position. Mikey GTI now gutting around Shabs, that being for 8th. And still it is Iris 3/10 behind Lord Alum. I don't think Iris would be happy with taking it on penalty. He wants to get around the McLaren. Oh, bit of a slide there. 2/10 of a second now. Still trying to close in. He's probably not going to have something into turns 8 and 9 here. So to the line this time will be 4 laps to go. Since then, Marcus has actually put about 1.5 seconds back to Lil Jim, as Dunda and Savvy, both cars ghosted. Well, I say that. I think it is. Both these cars actually still being controlled. They're just ghosted because they have blue flags. But I believe it was that of Dunda's just picked up an additional 3-second penalty. As well as Lord Alum. He'll be up to 9 seconds in pens now. You have Shabs. Oh, Shabs has run clean into the back end of Mikey GTI there. A little surprised he's not lost any of his wing. That was a lot of contact. Clay up to 9 seconds in penalty now. DRS activated for Iris. Not going to be close enough to get round Alum this time. We'll have 3 laps to go with the line. Shabs and Ali still battling. Oh, look at this. A lot of battling between these two. Ali has lost a bit of his front wing. Still side by side now between the two. Undoubtedly, there was contact involved in there as Ali now missing the end plate. Oh, and a bit of a bump there. Alum's gotten around JJ Trim again as the two Alpines once again. Oh, look at this. More contact between them going through Wall of Champions. And Irish Stubbs has been sent into the wall on the outside. Holy crap, these guys are throwing away potential loads of points here. And Ali up to 12 seconds in penalty, although he'll still try to get around Shabs and does. So still about 2.5 laps to go here. As Adonis 3 seconds for multiple warnings, up to 6. You know, I was really considering this Alpine team to be driver of the kind of joint driver of the day. But these guys are really kind of on the cusp of throwing away some good points. Unless, of course, does it get sorted out that, Lil Jim falls back even further with his 6 seconds accumulated penalty. I think if they get a double podium, if the math works out the right way and they do find a double podium, I think they could still earn driver of the day. I think it will at least be Iris. Up 4 positions. So Ali getting a background Mikey here with the aid of DRS as Shab's trying to get in this battle as well. Rob Sue now up to 9 seconds in a penalty. Marcus leads the way. Lil Jim 2.5 behind on 6 seconds of penalty. Lord Alum 3.5 seconds behind him on 9 seconds. Irish Stubbs undoubtedly going to be improving here. Although for the time being, I don't think he's actually going to get round Lil Jim, even with his lack thereof of penalty. I think it will still be Lil Jim in that second spot, as down the Casino Straight for the penultimate time now. Through the chicane, down the pit straight, starting the final lap of the Grand Prix. Iris has gotten around Lord Allen, and he'll put the lap car of Dunda in between them. Final lap underway. Marcus probably does not appear to be challenged by Lil Jim anymore. Lil Jim has done all he could, but he's got 6 seconds in penalty to Marcus's 3. He battled him hard as long as he could. Couldn't quite get Marcus to make that mistake. Although Shabs has gotten around Mikey GTI going into the chicane. Nicely done. Question is now where this all works out to with the penalties applied. Justerini, despite not getting any penalty, will not be improving any spots, it doesn't appear. He will stay 7th. Actually, that's not true. He'll make up 6th. But that'll be it. Lord Alum and JJ Trim side by side. Sorry, that was Iris and Alum. But making their way down the Casino Straight for the final time, RLS Marcus. As long as he doesn't pick up a penalty here, he's going to be good. Alum gets around Iris Stubbs, but it will be RLS Marcus winning the Canadian Grand Prix. Lil Jim, most likely 2nd. Lord Alum, 3rd. Across the line, it will be Iris Stubbs to 3rd. JJ Trim to 4th. And you have to think potentially did the pair of the Alpines throw away a double podium. Not too sure. Either way, Ali across the line next will be falling back quite some ways. Across the line, 7th, Justerini and Shabs will both be improving. It'll be Mikey GTI in 8th. Ali is actually retired from the session. So Justerini up 3, Mikey GTI up the 1, 7th and 8th for them, the only 2 to not pick up time penalty. But hey, be sure to join us next time out when we head to the Monza circuit for round number 9 of this season. I think it's going to be a reverse point grid race as well. That ought to be very fun on the Cathedral of Speed. But for Hotspot, it's been a pleasure joining you once again here in the JAG Thursday Championship, and we'll see you next week.